So now we're going to invite the speakers back for Q&A. So I'm happy to ask a lot of questions, but it would be also open to your questions. So we'll have a microphone go around for those who have questions. And please do help me. I don't have a lot of voice, so I want to preserve that for the rest of the day. So the more you ask, the less I have to do it myself. So yeah, feel free to grab a chair. So I'm going to kick us off with, oh, we already have someone. Okay, great.
Thank you. I have a question for Chloe. Chloe, you were talking about creating different types of spaces for innovative, for being innovative, for making sense, for feeling. In the practice so far, the business you were describing, were those spaces physical, or were there something about the workday or the organization of lives that had to account for those spaces?
Yeah, it's mostly a space of time. So, for example, one thing, if you're able to start your team meeting with a check-in, which is basically just a space for everyone to speak to just how they are, how they're arriving, or what's going on for them today, how are they feeling about the topic of the meeting, and is it even the right topic? Those kinds of things. First of all, give everyone in the room an equal voice, so it starts to kind of smooth that dynamic of loud voices and quiet voices, but also you start to see everyone as a human rather than just their role or their task or whatever. So just really small things like that can start to make a big difference.
Hi, well this one's also for Chloe, but also probably the rest of you guys might have thoughts on it as well. But you spoke about respecializing in being human, and that was like a focus on creativity, empathy, relatedness, if I understood it correctly. The thing is, like, when it comes to empathy and relatedness, like there's lots of apps, for example, that are coming out, like girlfriend apps, where you have a fake girlfriend that gives you that empathy and relatedness, and there are people that are leaving actual relationships behind to have their fake girlfriends on their phone. Or in creativity, AI is currently making novels, like writing novels and painting. And at the moment, there is a clear differentiation between how good it is. So humans are still much better at painting, they're much better at all these different things, and there's more feeling and more art in it. But as that AI makes it a lot better, where does it leave us, and how should we future-proof? Because all those areas that you spoke about, they are being addressed by AI.
I would say that like those things that I mentioned are not just human abilities, they're also human needs. And even if you have a girlfriend, I mean, that's an app. I mean, one of my favorite films is Her. It's the difference from having a real human in front of you. There's a difference in biology. If you're dealing with a device rather than another human, your mirror neurons aren't activating. You're not getting the oxytocin. You're not, it's not stimulating your well-being. And I think also like creativity and creating things in the world is a necessity for human well-being. So whether apps are outperforming us in those things, there'll still be a need for it. And a need for a community as well. And I think it's one of the very, very important things to recognize that even if technology can start to do those things, it doesn't mean that we don't need humans to do them. Yeah. Or we don't need to be doing them ourselves.
I'm wondering, Kobe or Angelica, if you have a take on this with your experiments with AI.
For me, it's kind of like more about why do we need to think about them or about it as a different, kind of as them. It's kind of like a different entity. I mean, there's part of the discussion when every sort of new technology comes, it's kind of like this idea of like we're really trying to see ourselves in it, and we always put ourselves there. and there's no way somewhere in between where we just figure out, like, there's something together, lives here together with us, and maybe there's another way of kind of just like looking at it at first. I don't know what that means in the end, but at least for the sake of understanding and trying to figure out what it is, we can start from this point rather than saying that there's something bad or good there, and that's it. That's we are very different.
I guess my own thoughts to what your question is I'm curious to know what you mean by future-proof. Are you saying there's an inherent threat to thinking about these ideas, or I guess that's what I was concluded, or there's that we should be fearing the future? Is that?
Not necessarily. I think when you look at the history of new technology, when the new technology happens, there's always new jobs that are created from new technology. So I don't think it's necessarily a danger or a threat, but it's more how we're supposed to be evolving. Because people are always like, well, you should look at human and what you do, right? So when the new technology is coming, what's human and what you do? So for accountants, it was the relationships, it was understanding what the maths are and everything, because all of a sudden there's Excel and all these different spreadsheets that they thought were going to totally wipe out accountants. So it was like that was the human part. But it's just when what we consider in general the human part, which is the creativity, the empathy, all of that, when that is starting to be automated.
So my thoughts on that are, what's wrong with switching careers? I feel there's an assumption when switch work is that you stay with one job, and I feel like specifically my generation, we're assuming that we're the generation that has multiple careers. And why am I hearing that? I don't know, I look totally forward to the idea of like potentially even becoming a doctor, even though I don't think I have potential. But the idea of like multiple careers sounds very enticing. Like I don't fear it. I feel, I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but yeah.
I was just thinking of something else. I've been married for a long time, so whether it's a virtual girlfriend or a real girlfriend, definitely not a go. But I love the idea. I love the idea that there's an app out there for girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever. And I think we, if something contributes to somebody's well-being, then let's just let it go. If somebody can find some happiness in the relationship with their phone, I really try to pull back from looking at the negative aspects of these things. I think how we manifest ourselves in society to the other person is probably, in my mind, more important than whether it's a good or bad thing, right or wrong, important or not to relate to our phone. So I'd just like to say that maybe instead, let's maybe not be too evaluative, too judgmental on other people who they love their girlfriend more loudly.
I actually have a question for three of you three presentations on the thing. For Angelica and Kobe, does a tool like the one that you demonstrated with the app, is the purpose of it to create a stronger understanding of current issues, or is it to imagine the possible outcome of future issues that don't yet exist? For Tom, I wanted to know, is the idea of creating... Okay, sure.
So I think it's also a very human challenge. We shape the tools and the tools shape us, basically. It always has been. And in our presentation, we just wanted to say we need to be very aware with what type of tools and who's using the tools that we are providing, and we have been provided with through designers, and really take these opportunities that are given to us here in Canada to critically reflect through these lenses. And yes, the future as a medium or as another tool to open perspectives, for instance, is seen as a very, very important trade. A lot of there's studies around youth that if you cannot predict the future, if you can't engage with the future, you have very, very limited options. So if you have to plan a week or two in a 2 months time span versus 5 years, that is a privilege that not a lot of people have. We think that this privilege needs to be broken down and shared amongst all communities. And basically, yeah, that's why we are offering this open source tool, and hopefully we'll engage with more workshops to open that possibility.
Yeah, I think for me, the answer is just both. Every time you think about the future, you're coming from the perspective of the present, and you just can't ignore that. So in that sense, that will always reflect both, mostly the present, rather than any type of future.
And my next question is, they both follow into each other, and they're for Tom and Chloe. Tom, is that as soon as that caveman were to create some meaning with his expression of culture, wouldn't the absolute obvious next step that follows to question his actual situation, and the fact that inherently it forces him to find meaning elsewhere? And that leads me to the question I have for Chloe as to how important is cooperative ownership in discuss of the Inspiral model?
Quick opinion on answer. But I think the questioning is important, but why question in the first place? Why do humans question anything, right? Why are we so willing to invest so much time in understanding something when all we are is just a bag of decayed meat? Because that's too much to contemplate. Our caveman created culture, and if that culture doesn't work for him, I'll question. And maybe my next one is agriculture. Maybe it's economics. Maybe it's religion. Maybe it's something. So I always talk about culture as the way a cartographer does, a map maker. If you remove everything human made from a map, remove the names of the lakes, the buildings, the roads, everything, all you're left is basically with the land. Well, humans aren't unique because we're social animals. We're unique because we're cultural animals. So yes, the caveman may keep questioning, and keep developing culture surrounded by it.
So the question that I heard was about the importance of the collective ownership in Inspiral. So there's, out there in the world of work, there's currently like a big movement around self-management, which is about teams and organizations being able to manage themselves, manage their workload, roles, all of that kind of thing. The limitation with that is there's always a CEO at the top that can make a decision to change that back to any other kind of command and control system at any time. So for me, the importance of collective ownership is about you're then the decision-making body. You have control, and right now as humans we're not so good yet at doing collective ownership. When you think about how much of inequality there is in the world, we're not that good at sharing in the workplace and in the economy. So for me, any opportunity to grow my skills and sharing ownership with people is a way of making a better world.
Hi, this question is for Chloe as well. And I was wondering if you could give specific examples of how this system and model work in day-to-day, specifically, for example, with projects where you have multiple collaborators. Like, how do you arrive at the decision-making and not let some people feel excluded? Or, also how do you keep, I think on every team there's some people who are much more dominant than others. And how do you keep them from setting the agenda for everyone?
Sure. So as far as projects go, when it's projects like on the organization or things that you want to do, there are ways online. For example, if you go to improvements.inspiral.com, it's like an online dashboard where if you have a issue or an opportunity that you want to work on, or you don't want to work on it, you just want to put it there, maybe someone else will work on it. You can put it there, you can then see who else wants to join, and we have both like in-person meetings and online stuff like Slack, and to be able to facilitate those. The other really, really important lesson that we learned in Inspiral is that in order to effectively decentralize leadership, to grow decentralized leadership, we actually had to centralize it a little bit. So it's kind of a bit of a paradox. But so what we did from 2015 is we created this role called the catalyst. And basically the catalysts are people in the network that have either a loud voice or they have a lot of relationships, like a lot of social capital, a lot of influence. And we nominate them to grow more leadership in the network, to activate more people. So it's a really high trust role, because you've got like a high integrity role, because you've got to trust them and trust yourself that you're not just going after your own means. I was one of the first catalysts, and it's difficult because we all have our pet projects and stuff like that. But again, it's a kind of awareness and a mindfulness practice. And as for like having groups where some people are louder or more dominant or whatever, of course, what creates that is often we have very different styles of interacting and different styles of thinking. So people like me that are expressive and think quickly tend to easily dominate things. But if you're in Inspiral in an environment where the value, the ethic that we're holding ourselves and each other accountable to is bringing out the best in everyone, I'm going into a meeting and I'm checking myself. Am I actually making space for other people? And we're all doing that at the same time. It's part of our cultural value.
I'll speak loudly. I think Simon's voice is sick. It's a question for all of you, but I've heard as a theme through everything, for each of what you spoke about. It's all very interesting, but the idea of empowerment. And I'm a business owner, sorry, but I'm also empathetic, and I'm also interested in the growth and how my staff and people work with me. And so empowerment and meaning in the work that you do, and how those two relate. I'd be interested to hear each of you speak on that.
Because the mic's in my hand, I'll speak very briefly before making space for others. Firstly, don't apologize for being a business owner. That's great, and great that you're interested in the development and growth of your employees. For me, there's two modes of collaboration. One we're very familiar with, which is recruitment-based collaboration, which is like, I have an idea, a project, whatever, I know what I want to do, and I need other people to fill these different slots. So that's a recruitment-based one, but which doesn't really recognize the individuality, the skills, the uniqueness, the things I want to learn of the teammates necessarily. The other model of collaboration is called deep collaboration, and it's based on, I have a thought, an idea, or I have a group of people I want to gather together. I don't know exactly yet what that looks like, or I don't have pre-designed roles for all of you, but we'll figure it out together. And that way there's like a collective creative ownership of the initiative. So that's one way to start doing it.
I'm sorry, I'll have to sort of remember the question again.
It's about empowerment and the notion of empowerment and how it relates to meaning and work.
So I think probably for us more, you can look at it in that way that, let's say that if you're lucky, you're probably look at the future is going to be tomorrow I'm going to be at work. In 10 years I'm going to finish paying my mortgage. In 30 years I'm going to be hospitalized and then I'm going to die. Probably that's how we probably most of us see ourselves. I think that the idea of empowerment from our perspective is this idea of you can change that easily by thinking about 100,000 options, and you don't have to do any of these if you don't like to. And I think the most important thing is to understand that you can start questioning this, this future, sort of basic future line that we all kind of subject.
Needing empowerment to, complex, big constructs. The world of work is made up, infinitely diverse organizations, and everybody's experience of work is different. So when I think of the ideas of meaning and empowerment, if I was in an organization, I want somebody to understand if that is or isn't important to me, and what I need in my relationship with this organization at work. Maybe I am interested in empowerment, and that's something that's important to me. Perhaps it's meaning, or perhaps it's something else, or perhaps my source of meaning is outside of the workplace, and I just need, primary reason why most people work in the world is survival. So, meaning and empowerment, important good constructs. We can talk about those, but I think where I feel valued is when somebody tries to understand what I value.
So the way I'm kind of interpreting the question is like thinking about my breakups. And I realized some of the best breakups I've had is that where I'm still friends with the person after. And in the context of work, it's not necessarily a romantic relationship. It's the idea is like, how did you grow together? And I think one of the questions, within your question, implies that you're going to keep your employees forever, or you're going to stay in a longer-term relationship with your employees. Either they move into partnerships with you and you grow the business together, similar to the way you grow your romantic relationships, you grow whatever, you grow your relationship the way you want. But it implies that there's probably going to be an exit strategy that you may have to talk to your employees about. Where do you want to be after this? Like, how can I help you go on to your next thing? Because I think some of my best breakups, I'm still friends with them.
Hi, I just have a couple of thoughts and questions that might not come out so eloquently, so bear with me. I've been thinking a lot about this idea of you can create your own meaning at work, so that's where we started. Then we heard about organizations that are setting up ways in which people can create their own meaning. So it seems to me that that's sort of in tension with each other from our first presentation, where we're saying as individuals we have the freedom to create our own meaning. So I was wondering if you could expand on some examples of people who may find themselves in not so great work environments and they've been able to reclaim their meaning. So they may be apathetic, they might be in a traditional hierarchy model, they might have a horrible boss. There's all these reasons why we're unhappy at our workplaces. So if we have some practical examples where the individual is able to find the meaning without necessarily the workplace having to cater to all of their thousands of employees, their specific individual needs.
I thought something was really going to think about this.
I just mentioned a couple things. So there's I don't know if there's tension there. I think what a lot of us maybe could benefit from is, I think we're fading in under, space to create our meaning in the workplace. So if we do want to have a more meaningful, whatever that is for us, relationship with our work life and our world of work or organization or job, whatever, a lot of organizations, employers, maybe don't give us enough space to explore how this job can be meaningful for us. We're told what the values of the organization are. We're told what the purpose of our work is, and immediately, if we buy into that, our options for creating meaning are limited. So if we can have space to create meaning, that's great. But how do we? So let's say we have or don't have that space, and we're not able to find our work still meaningful. Well, what can we do? I deal with two groups of people normally. Not there's more than only two groups of people. When it comes to meaningful work, somebody's either, I hate my job, it really sucks, but I don't know what you're talking about, Tom, I'm perfectly happy. Fantastic. Happy is happy. Work is not a deep source of meaning in your life. Your job is shit, but all's well. Then I deal with people that, I got a miserable job and it's driving me nuts. Okay, let's acknowledge that you seem to need a bit more meaning from your job than you may be willing to accept. And we don't get a lot of permission in society to say my work is a deep source of meaning to me, whereas a lot of people out there telling us what's supposed to be meaningful, family, friends, contribution to community, save the planet, all those things that are wonderful, but maybe my source of meaning is my work. So all of a sudden now we have to start really examining how am I going to find meaning in my work. And I'm going to be quiet, but it's a big question.
So I recently completed a project for a few months with a customer service team at a university who were overly disengaged, like they were getting terrible customer feedback, they were coming late, a lot of them were on sick leave a lot of the time, and basically they were like really disempowered. So I came in and worked with them using tools, appreciative inquiry, so about building on their strengths, recognizing and building on their strengths, and human-centered design so that they can work with their users better. And just for 12 weeks, held a 2-hour workshop where they could, using these tools, decide on what issue were they facing, what challenge were they facing in their team that they wanted to improve on. Okay, who wanted to band together on that? What would they do as to understand more about that, some empathy, listening, and then running prototypes. And what was the dynamic that they were caught in before is they were like, oh, there's issues, but I don't, all I can do is park them on my manager's desk. The manager was horribly overwhelmed, and it was just like there was no power in the system. So by just giving them some tools and 2 hours a week, they were able to reactivate themselves, get a sense of satisfaction and meaning from what they're doing, and start constantly improving and learning, and using their creativity together, feeling like a team, and it shifted things really dramatically. 2 hours a week.
Okay, so just being mindful of time, we're going to take a break now and come back in 10 minutes. So it's a quick bio break, and we'll start in